What's going on, man? We back. West Warrior Sunday interviews, Um, so welcome back to another powerful episode. I know you've been missing us. It's been a minute. But we back again, you know what I'm saying? We're here to highlight the voice that matters, business that uplift and stories that inspire. Today, we're diving into the world of holistic health with a woman who is truly making waves in wellness. She's the founder of Nourishment 360, a Los Angeles County based brand serving up nutritious packed CMOS drinks and natural remedies that promote healing from the inside out. A proud Black woman entrepreneur, she's on a mission to nourish not just bodies, but communities. So what's going on, Miss Stephanie? How you doing?
Well, thank you. I am humbly grateful to be west of the 110. I thank you for your platform. I thank you for reaching out to me on my journey. And you just the store that you probably got the card from,
Yeah.
that was an old stumping ground, and I just I'm a faith walker. I'm a believer. So I was walking by faith and not by sight. And one day I just walked in. I gave them some sample of the juice. I left some cards there. And I'm grateful that I'm being spiritually led and I've made these choices in my life. And God has given me this business through the inner work that I've done and living through my testimony. So thank you.
Hey, you're more than welcome. Like I say, this might be my duty from God to help people get their word out there. Because not too many people offering people things nowadays. Trust me, I came up in the music
For
world. I
free.
Nobody gave me
Yes.
nothing.
Right. So
Um,
you
but
to be blessed is to be a blessing.
yep, yep. So I mean, hey, a lot of people look for cash, but I mean, I think a blessing is worth more than money.
Amen.
But yeah, we got some questions for you, but before we get into these questions, you know what I'm saying? Like, how was your fourth? You know what I'm saying? How is everything on your side? Is everything going all right? You know what I'm saying? Is there something that you want to get off your chest? Something going on in the world that's going on. I know everybody been talking about the Diddy stuff, but hey, that's another story. But
Well,
I mean, go
right.
ahead.
And those are distractions, those are things that are inevitable. They already know what they're going to do. And, it's a lot of inside working behind those types of things. That stuff has been going on for many, many years. And he was just being made an example of, not to go against the grain. So, my fourth was well, and a friend of mine as well has introduced me to his panel of For the People, by the People, and he actually called me today, and we had a conversation, and uh, things that are going on in the world that I mentioned something about that bill about Donald Trump, and like I
Bigger, better
said
bill.
something to the effect of, these people are really going to lose their medical, and they really going to cut out food stamps, certain things that we all rely on, even having a substantial job, because not everybody is making over 50 plus $1,000 a year, unfortunately. And that's how we are blessed to have these talents that we're choosing to use to be able to supplement our income. And he made a
Yeah.
very good point that there's a lot of people around the United States that are not getting what California gets. We are spoiled. There's a lot of states that it's not even going to affect them because they don't even have the access to these things. So I put it in perspective for me not to be complaining or in a complaint mannerism, so to speak, because if God's gonna make a way out of all ways, just like He's allowed me to build this business from ground up, off of my testimony, which we'll get into. and he gave me three names: Nourishment, Transformed, and Righteous Connection. So Nourishment is just scratching the surface. I still have a journey that I am to complete, and it's all coming together. So I mentioned him as well because you may can reach out to him on his nonprofit that God has allowed him to build so quickly, just like you've given me the platform, and I'm willing to give the platform as well for us all to come together. And that's what my Righteous Connection nonprofit will be once it comes. All the entities that have helped me to get where I am, and that I have successfully built these relationships and rapport for us all to come together. So I'm not just Nourishment. I am for the people, by the people, for us all to help one another, because we are crabs in a bucket, just trying to pull each other down instead of uplifting each other. And the community, yeah, we don't have our own things because nobody wants to help. That's why the Hispanic community, the Indian community, all these different communities, the Asian community, because they stick together, and they actually help us too. It's about helping. It's not about, oh, if it wasn't for me, and making it just more difficult, and you have the tools to help somebody.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I feel the community, they all should have a hand in with each other and helping if you live in that community. But as we seen in LA County, growing up in LA, and I've seen that firsthand. I played soccer growing up, so I was very close to a lot of the Hispanic community, and I see the way they treated black people. I was there firsthand. But I
Mm-hmm.
think somewhere down the line, people got out of touch with reality and became more enemies than friends. I think everybody needs to get back in touch with reality, and with that being said, say something like Nourishment 360, that could be a part of it, because I think everybody should cleanse, get their mind right, cleanse your body and stuff. You can't meditate and whoever you believe in, get one with the universe and God if your body's full of toxins. You gotta clean yourself out.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I agree with you. We gotta
Even
we
in the
gotta
name Nourishment 360,
yeah.
there was a neighbor of mine, and her daughter was reading a card, and she was interested in the juice. And I'm in Walmart just, doing things that I needed to do for me and my kids. And so I was led to stop and explain what my business was. And anything that's for you is going to be for you, literally. Because she said, and as I was explaining everything about the business that we will get into, she was like, well, do you have a website? Do you own your name, your domain name? And I'm like, no, like, I don't know about any of these things. And again, there was, as I get into my testimony, people always want you to give them something, or they want you to they want to have they want to hang it over your head, like, if I didn't do this, you wouldn't have this. And that's not coming from a genuine place. But needless for me to say that in that moment, she literally went on, found the Nourishment 360, and allowed me to buy the domain, because she explained to me that you want to own your domain, because if you don't own it, then when you want to use it, somebody else probably already owns it, and you have to pay them to use the name. So she explained that to me, and I was open to listen and not, run with my own thoughts, and, to just be open minded. And I'm grateful that she was led to give me that information, because my nourishment, it was Nourishment at first, and that was already bought. but that's why I changed it to Nourishment 360. No, Nourishment 360 was it. I had to change it to Nourishment 360 when I was going through my LLC process. But I came up with that because even though I represent nourishment and that wasn't available, my spirit was like 360, because you're going to do a full circle, that you're going to do a complete cleanse. It all came together, and you don't know why, but everything that's meant to be is meant to be.
Yeah, you're right. Everything that's meant to be is meant to be. Just like they say, if it ain't your time to go, it ain't your time.
Right.
Um,
All right. When
well,
it's
I
your
mean,
time, it's your time.
yeah, that's a big fact. Everybody breathing got to go one day.
Right.
Um,
But if
yeah,
we
I
take
mean,
care of ourselves, we can be here for a bigger purpose. Because life is not about you,
yeah,
it's
you're right.
about others, and even through all of this, I've gone through a spiritual awakening. I've been revealed that I'm a healer because I'm naturally a person that has been given, and I didn't understand, part of, and I've been through therapy for 2 years, and all these things are part of cleansing your soul and your spirit. And we haven't even gotten to the juices and the CMOS and, the holistic living. I mean, first you got to look at yourself in the mirror and actually go within. And through me going within spiritually, allowing, what I'm really supposed to be here for. And I'm thinking these people are taking advantage of me, but God is like, no, you are doing my work. I will do. And then you go, well, dang, I'm doing all the right things. And people, a taker is going to keep taking, and somebody that you allow to, and the key word allow, to manipulate you will, and they will do it until you set your boundaries and say no more. And so that's what's happened in my life through this whole transformation. And transformation transformed. I am a licensed cosmetologist. I keep all of the attributes that God has allowed me to have accolades for. I keep them active. So I don't actively do hair, but I really like the pedicure, manicure aspect, the waxing aspect, the facial aspect. So I'm really like just looking at what I like to do, that it pleases me to do for others, not just for liquid gain, but that they're feeling better about themselves, that they can learn how to do it on their own, just thinking about the facial, moving the blood, relieving people. And I'm doing it because it's my purpose. I'm a healer, I'm a helper, and God is going to send me my village, the people that are going to honor it. And then you have to use your discerning spirit of who doesn't deserve it. And it's not to harden your heart, but to be open-minded, that just because one group of people or one person does not deter you from what you are called to do, because that's why we're supposed to be one unity, one body in Christ.
Yeah, you're right about that. A lot of people so focused on race, color, but they don't realize we're all human. It's only one thing, the human race. I
Right.
mean, that's what it's supposed to be. But I mean, hey, teach his own. I mean, a lot of people have their
And we
own
can't
theories.
judge. We got to lead by example. And
Yep,
I've
exactly.
learned that through therapy, not taking things personal, just, letting things go, meet people where they are, don't live there.
Mm.
All that matters. And people think ignorant is a bad word. Ignorant is not a bad word. Ignorant is just not knowing. Now, you're ignorant if you just don't want to learn and do better once you learn, like that this is not the way of life, or you could do something better, and you're choosing to be stuck in that box. then that's the problem.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. That also ignorance, and that brings on laziness. Um, one thing bad after the next. So it's best to get out of that. And I'm glad you said that you went to therapy, because I feel all Black people should have one therapy session. People will stray away from it, you know, go to therapy.
Yes, when that lady told me that I'm gonna have to unlearn behaviors, and because it blew my mind, like, how do you unlearn anything? Like, after you see it, you can't unsee it, right? But trusting the process, embracing the process, it was mind blowing on how light I became. Where you don't want to let people go. You don't want to, like, this person that you really love, that you would do anything for. You got to think, you got to look back and like, but would they do that for you? And that's when you have to analyze, I'm doing all this for somebody that wouldn't even jump over a puddle of water for me. That make them a bad person? And through therapy, it does not make them a bad person, because they can't give you something they don't know how to give. And it's up to you on how much you're going to take, because a person knows their intentions. And these are words that we have to hold people accountable for. And
Yeah,
once a person shows you that they're not going to be accountable, that they are self-righteous, that they want to be stuck in that matrix, then it's up to you to walk away for your own peace. And it's hard to walk away because of the familiarness that you have. But just imagine, when you do walk away, there's a whole world that you have allowed yourself not to embrace, because you want to accept this little bit, but you deserve more. But you have to see that you got to wake yourself up. And that's what I've done. It was hard. I had a lot of sleepless nights, crying nights. I mean, even when you're not looking for something, but it presents itself, it does hurt. But when you go to therapy, you learn how to utilize those tools of breathing, of taking a walk, shoot, freaking hugging a tree, just certain things that that free you from those anxious and anxiety of being, thinking that you deserve this treatment and you don't. Because if you don't allow yourself to be open to meet the right people, and you stuck around the wrong people, then the choice is yours. So you do have to learn when and how long to cut the ties, because when you allow yourself to discern, and you can see things before they even happen. You recognize conversations, you recognize body language, you recognize demeanor. And even when
yeah,
those people come back, you don't have to be rude or disrespectful, but hey, I wish you the best. And I'm just what happened. Oh, we back.
yeah. No, sometimes
It'll do
it,
that. Okay,
it'll
yeah,
do
and I'm
that.
just trying to be transparent, and just allow you to receive the energy on how all this came about, because
Yeah,
it was definitely, so I pinched myself, like, I'm actually elevating to honor what my mother and my father and maybe my family is like. You should have, like, I should have been on this path, or I should have been in this type of elevation in my life. But everything is in divine timing. And Had I not gone through these hurdles in my life and through my testimony, I wouldn't be the person that I am today. And I wouldn't be trying to, I can't ruin this because this was built off of my trauma, off of, me wanting to heal my body, heal my mind, heal my spirit, and break these generational curses for my children. And it really opened my eyes when I had my daughter on the things that I was allowing myself to accept, and I'm her example. So in conjunction to all those things, that's how this has all come about. um I don't know if you want me to go into nourishment now. It's kind of because I don't want to take all the time, or I don't know how long the episode can be.
You know what? We can get into the questions, and then some of the questions are going to lead off into the nourishment.
Okay. And I do apologize because I can be long-winded, and then that's part of my healing as well. I've always been judged, I have a voice, and it's been muted a lot because I'm used to, people want me to just like, what are you talking about? But now I'm talking about a lot, and it means a lot.
Hey, everybody has something that another person should hear that may help them in their life. I feel.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's just as simple as that. But you know what? Before we get into these questions, I got a little 15-second clip. I want you to check out real quick. Then we get into
Okay.
these questions. You need health, strength in your life? Check out 360 Nourishment. Call Stephanie. She got what you need. Get the juice.
Thank you. I appreciate the advertisement.
So, everybody that's watching this, if you need something in your life, some health in your life, you need a change, you want to make a 360, there you go, man. Numbers right there. We're gonna play it again a few more times for this is over with. But hey, that's just something. A lot of people love putting away money to do negative things like clubbing, going out drinking and smoking and doing all this type of stuff. Why don't you use some of that money for something positive like your body, health, you know, um,
To
something that can help you
repair,
more.
yeah, to repair the toxins that you're putting in your body. And oh, I was gonna say something related to that. Oh, and also because I don't have customers, I have clients, and exactly um, what West on the 110 is promoting is you do need someone that has gone through something that you may not feel as though that you're worthy of sharing, because it does make a change. You don't, the things that we have done in our lifetime, because I'm pushing 45, and I'm grateful. And I'm humble with humility. I may not look 45, and I'm grateful that I don't look like what I've been through. And each individual that calls me about Nourishment 360 for the CMOS and the juice, yes, I have my own signatures, but I am willing, and I do sit down and consult with you on what it is you're battling. So I'm grateful for this platform, on how everything is transpiring for you to, know who I am, feel my energy, because a lot of people put on masks,
Yeah.
and they may say one thing, but their intentions are something totally different. So I do want you to know, when you do reach out to me, I'm here. I'll if I'm in the middle of something, I'll let you know when it's a better time. I'll try to give you as much information as I can in the amount of time that I have. I do have 3 children. This is my business, my livelihood, and I also work. So, and I'm a single mom. And it's okay, because God goes before us. Nothing can be against us. No weapon formed against us shall prosper. The Lord has the vengeance. And I'm a woman of God. And I've been in the streets. I've been in the trenches by choice. I didn't have to be there. And I don't judge and I don't condemn. So you would be surprised of the relatability of, drug use, alcoholism, sexism, all these different things lead to disease. They lead to consequences. And we as a one body, we got to come together on what it is, on how we can heal it, how we can fix it, so that we can have healed people, because hurt people hurt people.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. You are right, and that's something we got to get out of too. I want to piggyback real quick off something you said, back to the healing part. A lot of people that still feed into a little libation, who like to drink and smoke weed. Ain't nothing wrong with it. You grown, you do what you want to do. But for the people who do that and then try to work out and eat healthy, because I know a few people who eat healthy and work out all the time, but they love alcohol and weed. It's like, you're not really getting healthy. You just maintaining your bad habits, you know.
Yeah.
So I encourage people to look at that also. Back away from the hard alcohol. Don't get me wrong, I used to love Jack Daniels. I haven't picked up a bottle in over 5 years, and I feel good about that.
Wonderful.
Um,
Congratulations. Yes.
it's a big chain. Now, don't get me wrong. If you go out somewhere, you go to a wedding, they got champagne. At an event, you might take a sip. I tried it once. I didn't even finish the cup. Like, ugh, you know. But
Right.
it's
Because
just, you don't need it. It's hurting you. It's a
right.
carcinogen. It's hurting you internally, and that's something a lot of people don't know too. A lot of Black people wonder why cancer is so high in the Black community. It's not just the food you eat. It's, hard alcohol causes that too. And what do Black people do? They love to drink.
Yeah, they do. I ain't gonna lie, because I had quite a few yesterday. That's why I'm like, but I'm not that individual where I keep a bottle at home,
Yeah,
that
yeah.
I have to have a drink every day. I am grateful I'm not that girl, and it's no judgment. But a lot of times when you have been the struggle, people are unknowingly numbing their pain that is not going to go away.
Fact.
It's making it worse, because you become dependent on that feeling, and that feeling allows your portal to be open of all your right senses, all your decision making. You you're not making logical choices in compromising situations where your boundaries are not set at that time, and it just becomes an ongoing cycle, and nothing is getting fixed, and everything just seems like it's getting worse. And because you're not taking the time, because I've noticed just where me not drinking, especially regularly, like, yeah, it was 4th of July,
Yeah.
literally, like, I was one of those people that kept a bottle every day. I had to have a drink or a shot, or I had to be outside getting the attention, that thinking I was getting attention, but I wasn't even getting the attention that I wanted. So I had to go within and find it within. So we are really pacifying and putting a band-aid on something that's much deeper.
Yeah, you're 100% right. Um, You let me see. Damn, we've been on here 30 minutes already. Let's see.
I know we having so much fun.
We got to get into these questions. You ready for this first question?
Okay, yeah, because I am prepared, you guys, because I did take my time to do some homework so that I wouldn't be all over the place with my answers, and I feel comfortable using my notes.
You all good. Whatever. There's no bad answer here because whatever comes from you, that's from your life experience and your opinion. So how can that be wrong?
Right. No, it can't be wrong, but I want to give the most logical answer as well.
No problem. No problem. I got you. I got you. Well, this first one, with everything going on today, stress, poor food access, and environmental issues in urban communities, how do you see herbal and holistic drinks helping people heal in real ways right now?
Okay, and my response to that, you guys, I'm using some of my notes because CMOS is a natural vitamin that comes from the sea. It has 90 minerals your body needs. We're so grateful to have had Dr. Sebi to promote these holistic ideas and the evidence of the things that he's healed and reversed that we would think that is unknown, and just being more aware that the pharmaceutical company, and I saw something so interesting. If medicine works, you wouldn't need a prescription. And that made so much sense to me. And our ancestors lived hundreds and hundreds of years without any of the new age practices. Why not go back holistic? Why not go back to naturally eating? We really do need to start growing our own fruits and vegetables because they are spraying things and we're putting this stuff in our body. But to God be the glory, with CMOS, we can detox our body from these heavy metals that's in all of the nonsense that we have been programmed to want. Fast food. Because I remember in the 80s, you could not eat a whole McDonald's hamburger because of the natural beef, the real lettuce and tomatoes, the realness of enriched bread, not dyed. It tasted totally different. It was 3 times the size of a Big Mac today. Literally, you could eat a McDonald's hamburger for 2 days, heat it up, and it tastes just like it did when you bought it. Now, when you look at those patties, I'm like, it just gets smaller and smaller. And I know I'm guilty of it too. It's really the Thousand Island sauce that's on there that gives you that taste, because that's the only thing that I'm tasting that's the same. The bread don't taste the same. The lettuce don't taste the same. The meat don't taste the same. But I'm saying that to say on this holistic life, on the stress, the food, the environment, we just really need to be more aware of what we paying them to kill us. So let's make better choices of what we're going to decide to purchase. So CMOS removes that mucus that's in our bodies. It's a detoxer. Um, it's evident with my skin. It's evident with control with your weight, because all the fat that we have around, we call them big backs now. We big backs. I'm a big back right now. Because I've been letting myself go, being that I don't smoke and I don't drink, that I've picked up sugar. And that's not good either. You can't swap it out. But you know um with doing these things with the CMOS, it helps with common colds. You won't be as sick as much. It reduces brain fog. My juices can be a meal replacement once we get into that. And it's also it improves the body function, because if your body is getting the right nutrients, it's flushing out all that excess poop. That's what I meant to say. The excess poop, that's what fat is. That's just backed up fat in your intestines. And when you flush those things out and just be mindful of what you're putting in your body, then you're putting healthier things in, then you'll have a healthier lifestyle, a healthier feeling, and you won't feel heavy.
Yeah.
So that's one of the benefits to I'm trying to go. Did I answer the question? Uh, how it heals, how it heals. So yeah. So this is introducing, and I know it's all gonna come out, but yeah. And I would also, even though I do CMOS, I do my drinks, I have implemented that black seed oil, and I want to implement oil of oregano, because once you start getting on this regimen, because I notice when I take my black seed oil regularly,
Yeah.
it suppresses my appetite even more than doing the CMOS, because that also, all these holistic things. No, Sydney, I'm still on the call. I'm sorry.
Are you
Sydney, I'm
good? You
on the
good?
Zoom. Thank you. Yeah. So, hey, I'm mommy 24/7. But right now, I'm trying to be a beacon of light of, a transition to back to how we used to live. And and this is how they lived longer, because they got their water from their fruit. Like I get his name wrong all the time because there's so many different ones in different areas of my life. But Aki Awakening is the one. He also has a holistic study and
Yeah.
clinic, and he is one of my go-tos. As I research and study more on what is a better way of living. And I know I'm getting hot in here. This room is hot. I had to open this door a little bit. I hope you can't hear my kids. I do
Oh, you
apologize.
good? You good? You good? Man. You good? You good?
I know.
Yeah. I mean,
I'm
hey, that
really
was
getting into this episode too.
yeah.
It's bringing more of me out than I knew.
Yeah. That's. I mean, I'm pretty sure people would. I mean, I'm gonna say you answered the hell out of that one.
All right, guys. That's why I said, because I told you I studied before.
Yeah.
I'm so honored to be in this position where I'm actually making some noise on something that I developed out of trauma. I can't
Yeah.
wait to tell you the testimony. Right.
Yeah. I mean, hey, some of the a lot of things are created from people that have been through bad experiences. That's just like some people who've had a silver and gold spoon in their mouth their whole life. They don't tend to make it in life because they don't know how it is to struggle. Um, I've always said, like NBA players, in NFL, whatever professional sport, a lot of these guys and a lot of these women, they get pampered their whole life because they're supreme athletes coming through elementary, junior high school, into college. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So a lot of people overlook things because they haven't went through the struggle, and they don't realize that some of the best things come out of a struggle. Like you say, diamonds are created from a lot of pressure from the earth. you know, so
Absolutely. Absolutely. 100% agree with that, because it's how do you survive? And one of the other questions, like it as it comes out, um living holistically and buying your fruits and buying your vegetables and cooking at home, that we've gotten away from because how convenient fast food is. That's how
Yeah.
you have leftovers. And a lot of people go, I don't eat leftovers, Sydney. I don't eat leftovers. I love leftovers, but of course, as kids, we didn't understand why we had leftovers. That good old meatloaf sandwich. Meatloaf
Yeah.
with rice, meatloaf with mashed potatoes, meatloaf with salad. I mean, that meatloaf would last for a week,
Yeah.
and and that is what, maybe $25 at the store if you buy all the fruits and the vegetables and the meat, and that's feeding your entire family off of $25. But you could go to the fast food restaurant, you now, with inflation, which is insane, how something that used to cost 59 cents costs $8.99 now, and that's a burger.
Yep. Yep.
You could buy a real cheeseburger for about 79 cents, no more than $1.25, and now we're paying $8.99 for convenience instead of knowing the principle of fasting. Sometimes we're not even hungry. We just feel like we need to eat because it's time to eat. And that's who I
Yeah.
was as well. Now that I understand fasting is mind over matter, just because who said that you had to break your fast as soon as you opened your eyes?
That's right. That's right. You don't have to
So
eat early in the morning all the time.
right. Well, and then once you start a routine, now I can, with my business and my juices,
Yeah.
it allows me to have not excess, but I can break my fast with my juice because I know that I need to maintain my weight. And it helps my kids have energy to go to school instead of a sugary donut or a muffin or
Yeah.
cereal that has what, paint thinner in it. You see what I'm saying? And sometimes it is easy, but when you do things more, when you're more consistent with health, that one bowl of cereal is not going to hurt your child versus you eating it 2-3 times a day. Sometimes people just let their
Yeah.
kids just eat cereal. Like, no, like, when you know better, you got to do better, because if you don't, your body will definitely let you know.
Damn about it. Yeah, your body will let you know. You got to monitor what you eat, and adults got to monitor. That's another thing. A lot of people not paying attention to their kids, and then when they look up, they got a 10-year-old that's obese and wonder why. Um,
Yeah.
you gotta pay attention to that. Um, Let me
And no
see.
pun
You ready?
intended. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Go ahead.
No,
No,
I
go
was
ahead. Go
gonna
ahead.
say no pun intended with all the silver teeth. You want to know why
Yeah.
your kids, that's not good for their baby teeth to rot, because that means that it's going to cause their adult teeth to be affected by the sugar, and for your children's teeth to decay to where they have to put silver caps on them. That is definitely a sign of something internal going on with their bodies at that young of an age, and they don't even have adult teeth, so you know what age group we're talking about.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's not good.
That's not good at all. That's not good at all. Um, Let me see. You ready for the second question?
Yes.
All right. Well, like I said, a lot of people, a lot of our people are dealing with high blood pressure, diabetes, and anxiety. So the question to you is, what inspired you to take a more natural, ancestral approach to health, and what kind of feedback have you gotten from your clients?
Okay. So this is where the testimony comes in. And it's an amazing story the more I speak it. Um,
You know what? I'm gonna give you a solo layout for that for your testimony.
okay, well, thank you. So my father was declining in 2020. And I'm going to really take my time to tell this testimony because when God word is written and it does not come back void, and he allows your enemies to be your footstools, and I don't use enemies as somebody that has to be one to try to have it out for you, just people that mishandled you, that you were too much for, and to
Yeah.
be unapologetic. um uh I didn't know what I was going to do, and that's when I had to submit and really fall down to my knees and repent to God. No, the process is not immediate. The process takes time on you trusting yourself, for you to know God for yourself, for you to allow him to work on you, because we are all unique as one. So my father was declining in 2020. And your words, life and death, is spoken in the power of the tongue. And yes, I know I'm pushing 45 at that time. I had just turned 40. And everybody wants to have somebody to care for them, to love them. You know, you don't know why your journey is uniquely your journey. Yeah, I would have wished to be married, but I wouldn't have these three beautiful kids by, yes, two different baby daddies, to have my testimony on why each one of my children are unique. And me just being open and wholehearted to not even know, to be in such a great space in my life now that I don't know what God has for me. And it's okay. But I'm going to take one day at a time and be purposeful one day. So in that decline, there was an individual that I prayed into my life, and he was able to be there and have every means that I needed at that point in time of my father's decline. Total stranger. I didn't know where he came from. I was in a very ugly space. So you think when these things happen, like, oh, he was God sent. Yes, he was God sent. But once you get in the word and once you start becoming spiritual, a lot of things have to hit rock bottom for you to know and trust that anything meant for bad, God means it for good. So let's speed up that this individual had health issues, health concerns, and even through what he was battling, yeah, I could have been a crutch, but he was also a crutch for me to make me sharper. So, the giving, loving person that I am, we needed each other at the time. But I didn't understand boundaries at that time. I didn't have any. And he made me have to realize that I need to know what my boundaries are, because of not just him, but a lot of people in my life. I felt like they just took my kindness for weakness. I let them walk all over me. I was a people pleaser. And in me building nourishment, that was one thing that I said, I've always poured into so many people. I need to pour into me. How can I be anybody for who I'm meant to be if I don't love myself? And clearly, I was not loving myself. So that background story takes us to, he was showing me more of a natural, holistic lifestyle that was helping him because of the things that he was sharing with me that he was battling. So it did shift my mind to want to live, especially watching my father decline, drinking Pepsi like water. And he did this over a 82-year span. Okay. So my dad did live a great life, and he left a legacy for me to 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 figure out what I could do with myself, because he wasn't here anymore. And now I got to put my big girl drawers on and figure it out, because money runs out. And people, just like what you mentioned about having a silver spoon in your mouth, a lot of people feel like I had that. But my mother's entity on her side of how I was raised, and how, I was grateful for what we had. And my father was a very much of a provider. And, he didn't have to count his pennies, but because of what he poured into. So he earned that. And so, needless to say, I was buying turmeric shots from Trader Joe's for this individual. And, I realized when I do things for people and I don't get it back, it never's hardened my heart. I didn't know that I was doing the work of the Lord then as I'm called now, because people were like, oh, that couldn't have been me. That couldn't have been me. It's not you, because now I know that I'm where I'm supposed to be a light, to be an example of what comes out of genuineness. When you do things from your heart and not just doing them because, and it's real simple. So I started making those turmeric shots, and had helping another young lady right out of my C-section, because again, I needed her and she needed me. And my father couldn't go into me delivering my last child, and she was there for me. So I wanted to be there for her as well. And sometimes people will give you absolutely the closure that you need. And I'm fresh out of a C-section driving you around because you're in your predicament. And let's say that's how I was introduced to CMOS. I was introduced by helping this individual and realizing that both these individuals that I was helping, out of the genuineness of my heart, has allowed me to build this platform that I have now. Especially the name Nourishment, Transform, and Righteous Connection came to me as the individual, the gentleman, was leaving out to celebrate New Year's Eve, because you want to have a relationship with no titles. And Stephanie had to do a lot of inner work within herself in her drinking and hanging out. But instead of laughing at somebody and acting like you laughing with them, once you see what is the deeper rooted cause. And now that's why it's so easy for me to share my testimony, because everybody that humiliated me, everybody that wanted to make me weird or make me this ugly individual, but I'm here with helping hands. I'm helping everybody. I'm not judging you. I'm not condemning you, but that's what I got in return. But that's how God has allowed me to use those wounds, use those pains to be where I am now. And I'm not saying this in a malicious way, but I thank you. I thank you how that is how you helped me. And sometimes you don't realize that trauma builds you up by you wanting to come out. are finding a way, trusting God. So because I love this individual, I wanted him to be better, even though I'm thinking the more I help, the more I people please, people will love me. People will give me the love that I should desire, that I want, right? But you're not going to get that until you love yourself. So with the orange, the ginger, the turmeric, the black pepper to activate the turmeric, lemon for longevity, pineapple for flavor is what I added in my juice. But coconut water, that's all those turmeric shots at Trader Joe's are. So I made that and I implemented the CMOS inside of it, and boom, that's magic juice. But the reason I call it magic juice is because that's how I would get my kids to drink it when I was only making that one flavor. That individual, we got to go, or I'm good. That individual
No,
was a
no, you
narcissist.
good.
Oh, that individual, I had to realize through therapy that he was a narcissist. And when you go through narcissism, that I rather be in I rather not nothing. I rather people just keep it straight up with me and love me, right? But for somebody to play with your mind and know what their intentions are and try to turn it around like something's wrong with you, and a lot of us don't even realize how many narcissistic people that we have in our lives that we entertain. And unfortunately, I was freed from that. I chose me. I chose me. I chose to not allow people to keep playing in my face and thinking it's funny, like what I'm going to do, what I'm going to do. And I really felt like I was a punk, and I'm far from that. But I said, this is the first time I'm going to back down. You won, but you got to go. You got to go away from me. So I would keep a gallon of this juice in my refrigerator. And through the trauma, I had that mixture in the back of my refrigerator. Why? Every time I went to go try to pour it out, it was something else I had to do. Or I know it's but God. It wasn't COVID. I mean, this is during COVID, but my children were sick. They were on antibiotic. I was sick, and I could not take that cough that my children had. And I was cringing, like I couldn't sleep. I was like, my babies. My spirit said, go take that drink and shake it up and give it to the kids. So I already would call it magic juice to give it to the kids to have them drink it, because they liked it too. Because I had to play with it to get it. So it's good if my kids beg me to drink this juice now. It was very mild. It was very dull, but it didn't have because I smelled it. I looked at it. It didn't have no fungus or anything inside. So I shook it up, and I really didn't care, because I was like, Spirit, lead me, right? We drank that juice, and 2 days later, we was better. We were better. I said, this is magic juice. I said, this is literally magic juice. I said, if I keep this fresh, I can market this. And when my brother was ascended, because he was in a self-inflicted car accident where he was ejected on the 405. And it's a lot of things that people you do not look like what you've been through. And people try to downplay your struggle. Your struggle is your struggle. And it's just as important as somebody else's struggle. And when you look at it, people, the individuals that try to downplay your struggle, they choosing to be in a struggle by choice. So sometimes you have to make a choice of what you are going to accept and what you are not going to accept, what you're going to tolerate and what you're not going to tolerate. And so when I was mourning my brother's death, I was at Fiesta Martin. And just look how they franchised. They stuck together. And franchise their business. This is what I want from my children. There's a lot of, you got to do something that other people are not doing. And that's what this gentleman told me when I was trying to figure it out. Like, I went from an older cousin passing to an uncle passing to my daddy passing to 2 other cousins passing and my brother within 3 years. I went through all of that. And I'm like, Lord. And I mean, these are individuals that I dealt with on an everyday basis. It's not somebody that was a far off cousin or a far off uncle. Like, literally people in my life that I cannot never touch no more, or I cannot pull up on them, or they can't pull up on me. So I understand, but God gives you the strength to pick up and go, because people don't realize, as I stay in the holistic study, the spiritual study, just in study in general, not worried about what Blueface is doing, not worried about Diddy. I did watch the trial, y'all, so I'm not judging y'all, but those things are distractions. Figure out what you need to do for you and yours on what God has called you to be part of that one body. And even when I was in the clubs and in the street, this is what I was weird, because I used to talk about this because my spirit will be overtaken by the Holy Spirit, even in compromise with alcohol or whatever I was in compromise with. And I spoke the truth, and it's like, oh, she's a weirdo. She can't come around. She's embarrassing me. Yeah, I'm embarrassing you because I'm being who God is calling me to be at any axle of my life. And that's when I just really realized, like, I am different, and I'm grateful that I'm different, and I'm gonna embrace it. So I'm sorry, I kind of went off, but it all matters. It all matters. So the gentleman, he told me to do something everybody else wasn't doing. And he told me that before I even started Nourishment. I was making the juice, but of course the narcissist, he gave me all these business ideas, but what I had to learn, a lot of individuals always give me ideas because they know I'm an executor. But then if it wasn't for me, I gave you the idea, but you didn't go do it. You got to do it. I'm grateful for the knowledge, but all of this came about on individuals thinking they were using me. You weren't using me. You were helping me build a brand. And a brand of intention, a brand of integrity, a brand of going back to the old way of living. I'm choosing to live without a microwave just because my kitchen now does not have enough plugs. Of course, this is spiritual. This is so spiritual. Thank you, Holy Spirit. I could go find all these foreign plugs to plug up a whole bunch of stuff to have a microwave to give me more radiation. But now that I know better, I'm going to do better. I've gone back to just heating up my food like we used to on the stove, or double boiling, or in the air fryer, or, my lifestyle is different. I eat raw fruits and vegetables. You don't have to always eat these quick meals that's, you notice, that don't even fill you up because you have to eat them so often. So,
my wife and I, we don't have a microwave either.
Right. But it's a choice now. I could figure out how to have a microwave in here, but it is a choice. It's a choice to do better. And I literally feel like just that microwave food that I used to eat, or that radiation, I feel lighter. I feel like my brain is clearer. Like, yeah, we all go through our own psychosis of things, but I can definitely see a difference from not eating microwavable food, because even it's a lot of microwavable food you can just put in the oven instead of going the quick way and just zapping it. And then you want to really, and that's what CMOS helps with. It helps remove those heavy metals that are in the food from all of these microwaves. So being that I'm like, oh, I can market this. So my son, he was playing baseball, and I said, you know what? I started looking up labels. I started playing with other um, flavors. I'm like, okay. And during COVID, I changed my whole algorithm. Instead of watching the fights and watching the drama, I started looking at the holistic pages. I started looking at health and wellness pages. I started looking at how to make vegan foods, and it started getting interesting to me that there's a whole nother. Well, we used to live this life. Why don't we live this life anymore? And how can we go back to it? And a lot of farming and just certain things, because everybody was going through COVID. We're on our phones, we're at home. So why not learn how to not be subject to these viruses and these diseases? Because I never got COVID and I never took that jab either. I was firmly against it when I seen it, and I'm like, oh no, like unconsciously but consciously, I was like, okay, this is a sign of the mark of the beast. So, and then it got tricky. Like, we've been doing all these immunizations to our kids and things like that because we have to. But if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So I said, okay, so I got an orange immunity juice. Everybody has to have a green juice. So I'm like, Aki Awakening, I didn't want to have any infringement. And I was thinking, what can I facilitate in my business to make my own green juice? So, and what did I like? And what did I think the people would like as I'm looking at all these different health pages and what they're good for and what chlorophyll is. So chlorophyll is just a bunch of greens. And I'm grateful that he has a testimony through his juice that he lost the weight and healed him. Now, I'm just thinking it more from a marketing standpoint, because I can make whatever juice you like, but we just have to go to the drawing board. If I didn't mention that, that's why I have clients, not customers, because we sit down, we talk, I'll tell you the information that I have, and I'm even open to learn other information, because it's a forever learning. When you think you done learning, then you done living. So I see what types of plights that people are battling, if it's diabetes, if it's high blood pressure. A lot of people in this time and age have a fatty liver, kidney failure, different things that the disease with the inflammation of the blood or the swelling, and just ginger, turmeric, black pepper to activate the turmeric, the CMOS, all of those are great for is anti-inflammatory, anti-cancer, anti-diabetes. These are all the things that we continue to hear. And then once we talk about it more, once we live the lifestyle, and hear about it more, because before it was weird, of course, but see, I love being a weirdo now. Everything that's good for you is weird. And everything that's bad for you that you don't even know that's bad for you is cool. But that's what's actually killing you. So, my green juice was formulated. I'm like, okay, green apple, spinach, celery, cucumber. Cucumber is good for hydration. Um, the celery, the spinach, the green apples is good in the formulation of the chlorophyll. And then my juice, I blend my juice because during my study, I learned that you actually need the fibers from the fruit and the vegetables. When the juicer that is the new age and they call the waste, that's what's actually supposed to be in your body. So you're taking all the nutrients out of your juice by juicing it. And so if it was any challenge, because I know that's one of my questions, if it was any challenge, that's it on the texture. But I have played with it because it was a lot thicker in the beginning, but I've played with it to have it, a reasonable texture. And I can water it down as well. I can make it however you like, but I have my own signatures of introducing the idea of a CMOS juice. So that's the green juice. And then the beet juice is the same as the orange. It's the same as the green, except it's beet and cucumber. And so that's beet, that's cucumber, that's ginger, turmeric, black pepper to activate the turmeric. Lemon is in all of them for longevity. The juices last 7 to 14 days. Agave is a sweetener, and coconut water, spring water with a base of sea moss. So that is the actual formula that I use for and I consider those boosters because you have the ginger and the turmeric and the black pepper to activate the turmeric. Then I noticed that everybody doesn't want something so harsh. So I had to make refreshers. So I have a watermelon, a mango, a pineapple, ginger, and I made a country time lemonade for people that are uninterested at all, and they're chasing the country time lemonade taste of the world, but it's actually giving you benefits because it has the CMOS in it. So that's pretty much the breakdown of what the juices are and why. And what was my question? And how it helps, and the feedback and the challenges are. And once I can build a whole nother catalog down the line, I don't mind juicing the juice to make the texture, less fibers, and add the CMOS in it, or just to juice. So my plan in the future, I mean, if it comes about that I'm stationary, then so be it. But I definitely want to be a juice truck so that I can move around, so that I can have classes, so that I can go to schools and, be able to be a beacon of back to natural living.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Like I said, we got to get back to natural living. Um, you know what? I sort of let the time get away from me, man. Let me get into
I
this.
know it's okay. I can pick up on Monday because I definitely am intrigued to come on to, keep connected. That this is not just a one night stand, to
You know
actually
what?
be part of a cause.
Yeah, this what we all got to do, work as a community. You know what I'm saying? Everybody work together, and that's what's wrong. A lot of people get together, and then when they start doing better, that's when they separate, and then they come back together when they start doing bad again. No, if you stick together, maybe you never do bad once you start doing good.
Amen. And you know what? As it just came out genuinely, and we just went with the flow, the time did go by. But
Yeah.
I really think that we touched pretty much. I know you sent me the questions over, and if I had to end anything, just longevity of life is to live natural. because that would have been probably the fifth question. Um, uh,
You know what?
understanding healing.
You know what? We're gonna do this like this. If you're gonna come on Monday, we'll see you tomorrow, Monday. But we're gonna have part two of this interview probably
Okay. And I
later
got
on.
all the jitters out. So yeah, and even if we add other people in on it, like it's bigger than just Nourishment 360. I'm out there pumping the pavement with my business cards to just give people the opportunity to start wanting to talk about health is wellness instead of having a car wash card or I braid hair card or I do lashes. Like, I'm living a healthy lifestyle.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. Matter of fact, I think tomorrow, Monday, that's what we'll call the episode Health, Wealth, and Something Else. Had a
Okay.
panel up to talk about some stuff. And you know what? We also gonna have part two of this interview where y'all can catch this interview. You know what I'm saying? Well, Sunday is Sunday, you catch this interview. And part two will be following on. Maybe we're gonna try to get it for the following Sunday, part two. But you know what? We ain't gonna even end it right here. We just gonna say we're gonna take a pause and we're gonna see y'all for part two. And y'all be ready for
Amen.
part two.